1 year ago, the Blue Angels graced the skies of Nashville. The Navy's elite flight team building anticipation as they prepared for the Great Tennessee Air Show.
They only do so many shows a year, and we're pretty lucky to get them.
But in a split second, everything changed.
Hello, 911.
We had a plane crash. One of the Blue Angels crashed.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We have it. We're getting help on the way. Thank you.
Plane crash right by Fairway Meadows. Yes, I'm over here at Walmart in Smyrna, and one of the jets just came over, and we had one down towards the ground.
Yes, we have help on the way to him. Thank you.
At age 32, Marine Captain Jeff Kuss, husband and father of two, was gone.
And it was a magnificent flight, and then it turned into a horrible day.
In the next half hour, the untold stories of how lives intersected that day.
Literally, the impact affects you, and just, I heard it, I saw it.
From those who worked.
Everyone knew the job we had to do, and we did it.
To those who witnessed.
Your stomach drops, your heart sinks.
And those who prayed in the middle of a tragedy.
I just think on that day I was supposed to be there and I was supposed to respond.
The moment that brought the city of Smyrna together.
You know, and over the town of Smyrna, over the airport, over that entire community.
And a year later, the launch of a memorial to the lasting memory of Captain Kuss.
This is a News 2 special presentation. Final Flight, the Blue Angels tragedy, 1 year later. Here is News 2 anchor, Samantha Fisher.
Good evening, I'm Samantha Fisher, and a year ago I had the extraordinary experience of riding in Blue Angels Jet Number 7. I reported on what it's like to fly in an F-18 and was part of building excitement ahead of the Great Tennessee Air Show. What none of us could have known was the story was about to change in a dramatic and devastating way. And it changed this city. Tonight, we'll not only take you back, but we'll also show you what's next as Smyrna honors the life and legacy of Captain Jeff Kuss.
The Navy fighter jet on the back of this truck is arriving in Smyrna on a special mission. It will no longer take to the skies, but it will honor, forever, a man who did, a man who lost his life 1 year ago. Among the crowd gathered today is a special person, a former Navy admiral.
I just have a real closeness with Smyrna and aviation and what this community stands for.
Overseeing flight operations at several naval air stations, including Pensacola, Admiral Jimmy Taylor has a special love for the Blue Angels.
The fact that I've flown with the Blues and I've flown F-18s and flown air shows with them all over the world, it kind of makes my heart flutter a little bit.
It was there, on the beach last year, he watched the Blues fly out, heading to Tennessee for the air show in June. That was the beginning, marked by excitement and anticipation. As the Navy's best return to a place where they are celebrated and embraced.
The love this town has for the Blue Angels goes back to the 1970s, and I always say they don't live here, they're not stationed here, but they're part of this community.
Thursday morning, June 2nd, the Blues are in town. For Smyrna, it's a sentimental sight. David Chambers started the air show in 1969.
So we had the Blue Angels the first year.
Principal Clark Harrell watches from his house.
And it becomes a grand event for the whole city. It's a time that literally living here, I would sit on my deck and watch a lot of it.
And the owner of a local restaurant is surprised with a personal visit.
One day before the air show, that I saw some pilots came to my restaurant with beautiful uniforms, and they ate over here, and I asked for some pictures from them, and they promised me to get me pictures the next day.
The Blue Angels team would make good on that promise to Shiva Karimi, but under unthinkable circumstances. The next few hours would change everything. The pilots of Jets 5 and 6 have a special relationship.
They are the ones, when you're watching the demonstration, the solos are often doing something together by themselves while the rest of the team is out of the picture.
I like it when they fly and then they go like they're going straight at each other and they go like turn.
They're usually always together. They're like twins. You know, you might see the whole group, but when they're apart, they're always together.
Just before 2 o'clock June 2nd, the solos are airborne for a media photo flight. Alongside them is Sean D. Tucker, a nationally recognized airshow performer, one of the few allowed to fly with the Blues.
I've had the privilege to be an honorary Blue Angel. I've been around the team for over 25 years, and they are one great big family.
And within that family, Lieutenant Ryan Chamberlain, number 5, and Captain Jeff Kuss, number 6, are like brothers.
Close, they were like this because they have to be. They have to communicate. They're a team. They are the rock and rollers. They are the fighter pilots, and they so much respected each other. They so much loved each other. So much cared about executing with perfection.
It would be the last time 5 and 6 would land their jets together.
It was a magnificent flight, and then it turned into a horrible day.
Preparations for the Great Tennessee Air Show begin a year in advance. By Wednesday, June 1st, the wheels are in motion for Airport Director John Black.
As you know, we're all pilots and we live by checklists, so we're going down our list, and training is a big part of that. So we meet. And Wednesday was a great day. They showed up and everything, you got to ride, and it was a great day.
2 Rutherford County educators, Todd Harris and John Ash, and myself, take turns in the passenger seat of jet number 7, flown by Lieutenant Tyler Davies. My job is to experience the force of an F-18 and report back. But it was also personal. My parents came to watch, reliving their days in the Navy when my dad flew A-4 attack jets.
It's just something you really kind of relish. It's something that's unique, something you'll carry with you for your life.
There's a family connection for Coach Todd Harris, too, who always wanted to be a pilot.
And that was kind of the dream, that as an Air Force brat, man, I'm going to be a pilot. By the time I was 12, though, my eyesight was too bad, and I kind of knew, well, okay, that dream's gone. And but still, you know, to know that you had family that was working in support of the United States Air Force and military, it was just a powerful place.
In his teaching and coaching role at Stewart's Creek High School, Harris works with local military recruiters who nominate him for the honor of flying with the Blues.
I literally stopped that day when I got the notification. I called my dad. You know, he's retired Air Force. He teaches in Texas. And I called him and said, Pop, hey, I'm going to be flying with the Blue Angels. And of course, you know, on the other line, you get, no way, that's awesome. And that night, it's, you know, hundreds of notes on Facebook and on Twitter and text and everything. Man, wow, we saw your video. And you kind of, I caught myself looking at how many views I had just to see how many people were watching. And so you go to bed that night with just, wow, I lived today. You know, there's that thought of, man, did you really live? But today I lived.
Every year, the Navy selects 3 pilots for its FA-18 Hornets demonstration team. They must be carrier-qualified Navy or Marine aviators with at least 1,250 tactical jet flight hours. Admiral Jimmy Taylor knows aviation life well.
I've known probably at least 50% of the Blue Angels up through this time frame. And so I feel a close attachment. As aviator, as a naval aviator, you always have a close attachment with your fellow pilots, particularly those you fly with a lot, or have been in combat with, or been on and off the ship with.
In fact, when producers set out to capture the Navy combat experience in the movie Top Gun, it was Taylor who worked on the script.
We had so many people try to get in the Navy and the flight training after Top Gun came out that we had to turn literally hundreds away.
And it's those types of movies that not only entertain, but often inspire young people to reach great heights. For Jeff Kuss, it seems aviation was just in his blood. He learned to fly before he even got his driver's license, soloing at just 15 years old. From Durango, Colorado, Kuss was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the Marines. It was there another improbable connection was made. His flight instructor, a relative of Smyrna Mayor Mary Esther Reed.
Husband's cousin was a flight trainer for the Marines and actually worked with Jeff. And he had just posted a picture on Facebook a couple weeks before that, and immediately when the crash happened, we were talking and I said, go back and look at that picture and let's see, because at that time we didn't know who the pilot was. So it just shows how small the world is.
Kuss served in Afghanistan before joining the Blues in 2014, inspiring the next generation to take to the skies.
You know, going out and flying the jets is great, but coming here and seeing these kids, and you know, we were once these kids not that long ago, so it's cool to be here and interact with them, and gets us fired up and ready to go fly.
Kids like 8-year-old William Eddings, who snapped this picture with Kuss at the Smoky Mountain Air Show in Knoxville.
Yeah, Jeff Kuss. He's number 6.
Just a few weeks before Smyrna.
What was he like?
Very tall.
At exactly 1:53 June 2nd, the sun reflects off the canopy of his jet, and it's captured during the media photo shoot. On the ground, preparations are underway for the Great Tennessee Air Show.
It's just a privilege, really, to be able to get to do this. I mean, to work with the rock stars of the aviation world is pretty neat.
Kuss's wife, Christina, and their 2 young children are nearing the airport. They've been on the road a lot this year, driving hundreds of miles just to have weekends together.
It's just an opportunity that we knew we would never get again. We'd go to really cool places and be together as a family. I wouldn't give it back for the world now.
In approximately 1 hour, jet number 6 will go down.
First thing I heard was the call from the control tower that we have an aircraft down and behind the bowling alley. So I knew exactly where it was, and I knew what had happened.
Everyone here at the Smyrna airport knew exactly what to do, responding immediately while still in shock. Coming up, you'll hear from the man who had just left work to record the Blue Angels practice, and the high school principal who suddenly found himself in the role of military chaplain when final flight, the Blue Angels tragedy 1 year later, continues.
You're watching a News 2 special presentation, Final Flight, the Blue Angels tragedy 1 year later.
Smyrna's connection to flight began a long time ago. The airport was built in 1941 as an Air Force base.
Since I grew up off the end of runway 3.5 miles out here, I grew up, moved there in 1942, just as this base was coming into operation.
Around the same time, Middle Tennessee State University started an aerospace department, now one of the most respected in the nation. Its graduates have risen to the top of aviation fields. It's also where Matthew Burns went to study aviation management.
Been a big Blue Angels fan most of my life. I've watched them ever since I can remember.
He's just getting off work June 2nd. It's nearly 3 o'clock, and he comes here, across from the airport, to watch the Blues practice. With his cell phone recording, what Burns captures next will shock him and everyone who sees it.
Oh my God. Are you serious? Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Are you kidding me?
I saw him coming down real low. I watched it numerous times. I mean, I can't even begin to tell you how many times I watched it, just trying to analyze, what exactly happened. I actually found part of the manual for the Blue Angels maneuvers, trying to figure out, what happened. Did he not go too, high enough?
Kuss is practicing what's called a split S maneuver. In combat, pilots use it to get out of dodge. The pilot rolls the aircraft 180 degrees, then descends into a half loop. The jet levels out in the exact opposite direction at a much lower altitude.
We're watching him go up. He comes back down, and we expect him to come below the tree line and then come back across the runway.
But Kuss doesn't climb high enough, and his afterburners are still on.
At that time, I turn around and look and see the diamond formation. So we watched him fly over, and whenever we turn back around is when we start seeing the smoke.
Oh my God.
911 is flooded with calls.
Hello, 911. We had a plane crash. One of the Blue Angels crashed. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We have it. We're getting help on the way. Thank you.
Airport Director John Black is in his office.
I actually saw it happen out my window, which is, you know, my worst nightmare during an air show.
Smyrna Emergency Management is staged on the tarmac.
I had taken a couple of pictures of them taking off, and after maybe 15, 20 pictures, turned around, laid my camera back in my truck, and the incident happened.
Oh, wow, he crashed. You know, so many emotions, you don't really know what to think.
When the accident happened, I was at the airport, and you're just stunned. You become very introspective. You let the professionals take over. You're very alone. You're very alone.
First responders search for the plane and the pilot. It appears to be close to an apartment complex.
When I first moved up to Smyrna, I actually lived in the Weekly Lane Apartments, and so I could see roughly where that might have been, and my heart sank, you know, not seeing where it had landed, fearing the worst.
The jet breaks apart in this field between those apartments and the historic Sam Davis house.
Just talking about the general nature of what goes on in the smokehouse to a little girl and her grandmother who were on tour, and that's when the plane went down.
I could see coming up from the back of the cotton fields the smoke and the fire, and when we finally got to the field, I couldn't recognize anything. There was airplane debris everywhere. Nothing from the sleek blue, you know, paint that they have was recognizable to me.
You start visualizing everything that was going on out here, where everything was placed, where the wing was laying over here, where the engine was on the back nine. There was a wing, part of the wing laying right behind you, and there was debris covering this area over here, part of the cotton field. There's debris up here in these trees. It was just, everything was covered in debris.
Our communication center, our dispatchers, boy, they were bombarded. They did an excellent job. They had, I believe it was 43 911 calls just on the jet alone.
After the EMTs had been here probably about 30 minutes, one of the actual Blue Angel pilots came out to the site.
Subsequent to that, I started getting the phone calls from the Navy, actually the investigative side of the Navy team that was going to come here and start working the crash site and the incident and trying to understand what happened.
We lost an aviator that believed so deeply in the Blue Angels' mission of inspiring others and representing the Navy and Marine Corps, our citizens, and our great country.
Behind the scenes, a local principal gets a call. He's about to transition into a role he knows well.
And you're right, the word surreal, that's exactly what it was, because when I was on Interstate 24 headed to my city, my hometown, all of a sudden I had to click into where I realized I feel like I'm going to be needed here. And that's exactly what happened quickly from the state headquarters. And being able to click into, I'm no longer Clark and I'm not a principal civilian, I've got to get into my military, I'm chaplain, and I need to go help fellow warriors that are in need. Good to see you, man.
Just one day before, Harold and all of Stewart's Creek High School were anticipating the weekend's air show.
We're meeting when? Tomorrow? At what time? Going with family, are you going? And also, we knew that one of our teachers was going to be involved in one of the flights the day before the event, so it just added to a buzz. It's the place to be in this area.
Hey, I flew with the Blue Angels. And I'm pulling out my phone, I'm like, just look at me. That's me in the helmet, in the plane.
For both men, it is a tragic turn.
To think that it would go from Desert Storm I served in Enduring Freedom, and yet that day it became my hometown.
And I remember it being, you know, a little after 3, and in that time frame, and we're getting ready to sit down at the kitchen table, and I look at my phone, and it just starts to blow up. So you have this super duper duper high, and it's followed by this just mind-numbing low that still has questions connected to it. That you, because you flew, you feel an extra special connection, not only to Lieutenant Davies, but to the team.
It's clear the team will not perform at the weekend's air show. Airport Director John Black is faced with a tough decision.
Because the rest of the Blue Angels team was in the next room, and we immediately came together and said, okay, you know, what are we going to do?
The Blues will not go on, and there are considerations. Christina Kuss.
I knew that she was en route because we obviously take care of all their accommodations and know kind of with all their movements.
You think more about than anything is the surviving family.
To stop and think that his wife and 2 children were just minutes away from the airport itself, that's a kicker. It's hard to swallow.
Still in shock, Smyrna gathers to honor Captain Kuss.
To have that kind of courage, knowing that I've done all I can do and I'm going to save these people, I think that's what he did.
While nearby at the hotel where the Blue Angels team is staying, Principal and Chaplain Clark Harrell is counseling everyone from the mechanics to the pilots. It is a highly confidential process, and likely only he and the Navy know exactly what happened.
If you piece all the stories together, you know every detail, you know the last word said by Jeff, by everyone. You know the last contents. And uniquely in my position, it's like it's all there. And that's what I carry with me. I can remember every conversation, every deep word and thing that was said, and that's something I keep with myself and I don't share with anyone else.
After the crash, a rainbow appears over Smyrna, and lots of people see it.
I got to see the top of it, yeah. And it, you know, in the Bible, sign from God, yeah. That day, maybe. Certainly something to hold on to, for sure. You know, and over the town of Smyrna, over the airport, over that entire community that was affected.
And for one person in particular, the image is very personal.
For me, it was Jeff, just saying he was with us. And I've seen a handful of rainbows since, and they're always when I need them most, and I truly believe that he's in rainbows for me.
I think that's great that he left that for him.
In the months that follow, Smyrna continues to honor Captain Kuss and the Blue Angels.
And you probably had 3,500 people either lining the field, in the stadiums. They weren't even asked to stand, but as the silent drill team began, everybody stood. There was not a sound. I don't remember a single cell phone sound. And they watched as these Marines, and I know because I talked to their commander, they performed that night in honor of Captain Kuss.
And plans for something permanent, a memorial that represents how Smyrna feels about the sacrifice of Captain Kuss and all who serve in the military.
They wanted to see what you see here today. We didn't have a clue how to get a Blue Angel. They said it would be a 3 to 4 year wait.
I wrote a supporting letter about the Blues and what was happening here and the kind of support we had. And
the 3 to 4 year wait was shortened considerably.
You know, how many communities can say they have somebody that was over the Blue Angels that lives in their community? So Rear Admiral helped us get the Blue Angel.
It's a healing moment for many who have longed to express their gratitude to the team as they remember what happened 1 year ago.
Everybody's been watching it. Everybody talks about it. We all still do.
And now today to see the pride that the community had, and so thankful for Mayor Reed and the effort that she and the council put forth to make sure this memorial came to fruition. It's just wonderful.
Many here have longed to express their gratitude. The memorial jet represents a respect for Captain Kuss and the relationship between Smyrna and the Blues.
The next day, actually, some of Captain Jeff Kuss co-pilots came over here and they gave me the pictures, and they told me that because they brought the pictures because they promised.
I can probably say there's not a day that goes by that I don't think about it. You know, I pass this spot and the spot where he crashed every day to and from work.
There were so many in my city here of Smyrna and Rutherford County, and even that extends to Davidson County and Middle Tennessee, that just wanted to do something. And what I'm glad to say, even a year later, we have that same spirit. And that means a lot, not only to me, but I know to military personnel, and certainly in remembering a warrior that needs to be remembered for his sacrifice, for his country and what he's done, and for the family and his children, that they will know that Jeff will never be forgotten.
This very jet was in service with the Blue Angels during the 2016 air show season. It was number 3, and it was in the air the day Captain Jeff Kuss went down. Now it's painted with a number 6 for him, and will remain in the hangar here at the Smyrna Airport until the memorial is complete. As for the Great Tennessee Air Show, it and the Blue Angels will be back. In Smyrna, I'm Samantha Fisher. Thanks for watching.